Adversity? Bring it. The struggle? We welcome it. Snooze on life? Never that. We are Dave Regina and Mike Pirelli, and this is the No Snooze Podcast. Come on. Welcome back, No Snooze Podcast, episode 124. As always, I'm in the booth with the big three: Michael, the show Pirelli, Claudio, the voice Valenzuela, and I am Dave, the body Regina. Today, we're going to be talking about getting back to the basics, which is going to be a fun conversation between Mike and I because we're at two completely different points in our career journeys. But before we do that, we like to always give a little recap of what's going on. The weather in New York has been kind of weird. You get like a bipolar 77-degree day to a 37-degree day. By the time this airs, you're mid to late November, so we're a couple weeks ahead. But holiday season, things are good. The leaves are falling, fall foliage, if you will. Michael's looking great. I see him. We had a great conversation off air that always gets his mind rambling.
Yes.
Right? Even more chaos than is already around us.
No, I'm always focused. We know how this goes.
So what's going on, my brother? How are you?
I was just saying, I posted today, and my calves looked very small. I never understood all of the criticism, but I was doing a one-arm landmine row. Yeah, nice, good form. Yeah. Squeeze at the top. But all I could see was my little calf from the front.
So you're doing a back exercise, but you could see your calves from the front?
Well, the angle wasn't great. It was like a low to high angle. My form looks good, but that's all I can see. So I've been doing a lot of calf raises. A lot of weight on the calf raises.
CV has good calves.
Does he have good calves?
Very good calves. Yeah.
See, that's the problem. In my life, I got a lot of friends with good calves. CV's got great ones. You got nice calves. Phil Cat has sneaky good calves.
Okay.
Big boy turns thin, I think, is always a good recipe for big calves.
Oh.
So carrying the extra weight. CV might be a culprit. Lost about a honey. That'll do it.
Quick honey.
Yeah, I've just been really enjoying the gym when I can do it. And I'll be honest, I thought I would have everything figured out quicker. And it's not frustrating, but it's very humbling, used that word before, to struggle to get everything organized again.
Yes.
You think it's like with every phase. You don't have any kids, you have a kid. You're like, I'll bounce back quick. Mm-hmm. And then it's a little slower to bounce back. Right. But you get there. Mm-hmm. And then with the second, I'm like, it's going to be temporary. I got to survive, get back to the basics.
Yep.
And I'll bounce back quick. I thought October I'd be back in the full swing. Turns out we're in November, and I'm still working on it. So.
I know about extensions. That's all I'll say about
yes,
that.
He does.
I know about extensions. But to that point with just the pod bod in itself, there's a term called separation season in the professional development space and personal growth space, right? Separation season is typically around this time of the holidays where most people are taking their foot off the gas because they're like, oh, I just want to coast. I just want to get to the new year. I'll start my new habits. I'll start this. The reality is you have over approximately 8 weeks left. By the time this airs, maybe a month left in the year. You have a decision to make, right? And I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to the listener. You can take that mindset.
Me, Dave. I'm right here. Talk to me.
You could take that mindset and get ahead of the game and put your pedal to the floor for 4 weeks, where most people, I'd probably say 90% of people, have the mindset in business and probably in the gym, probably with their diet as well, that they're like, you know what, I'm just going to regroup in 2023. I'm of the mindset of like, remain consistent, stay with the basics like we're going to talk about, but why would I stop this lifestyle, right? Not that you do this by any means, but to somebody who might be struggling with this, I think you have to shift your perspective, put your foot on the gas and say, no, this is a time of separation to really create some space to use momentum. You're a big momentum guy, right? Instead of having no momentum and then shifting that momentum on in 2023, start now, get the momentum going so you flow into 2023 looking beautiful in business and in the gym.
You can't get the momentum started with a switch. That's the magic of momentum. There's no turning it on. There's no overnight success with momentum.
But it's more like turn the ignition on, right? And then you're like, yeah.
I've been like a lawnmower, where like you've been trying to start it, and you hear, and it's like wants to start, and when it's on, it's just gonna kind of like carry you over the grass and start cutting.
Well, at least mow the lawn, baby.
I'm mowing.
You know what I'm saying?
But it ain't going fast. It's an old lawnmower.
That's fine, man. Just keep mowing.
But it's I first off, when you said separation season, I thought you were trying to say like you got to get separated from the pies, because that's usually what I do in this time of year. I, for whatever reason, have felt that I've enjoyed the winter more as far as working out and getting ready, because there's less distractions, because you're in the house a little more. It's cold. There's not much to do exterior. People don't like going out as much.
Dark early.
So I've actually found in the past, I've really enjoyed starting this, this acceleration into the new year early. And I found myself even with the new company thinking through like it's already the new year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not punting this year, but I'm prepping for the new year, knowing that it's around the corner and there's a lot to be done. But what I want to mention is the pod bod, because I love talking about it. I've been doing what was it? The reverse of the press.
Rear delts?
So I've been doing the stand-up desk in the home office, and I've been doing the rear delt pulls. And now I'm actually, when I do an exercise, I'm thinking, oh, wow, this is the opposite of this other one. So I'm going to see if the strength translates. And I feel like it's starting to.
Yes.
255 for 8, I think, is a personal best. And it just feels strong when I do it now.
It looks good.
I don't know, like the form feels very like steady. I'm not jerking too much. It's very smooth. So I'm getting there.
Momentum.
And basics, which I've been thinking about, I've really dumbed it down with AC, my trainer, shout out AC, to getting the compound lifts and focusing on like the big stuff that gives me the most progress. Like, yesterday, for example, I had the baby. So she was down for a nap, Juliana. I went downstairs. I got through the first couple workout exercises, which were one-arm landmines, pull-ups, and something else. And she woke up. And in the past, I'm like, all right, well, I won't work out again. Like, I got what I got. Now I'm like, no, get back to the basics of finish the workout. So she's going to go down for a nap in maybe another 3 hours, take a quick break, finish the workout. So there's little things that I'm recognizing where I've had the opportunity to take the foot off the gas, and I've said, no, I'm going to finish it. And yes, it's not perfect, but you got to get back in the habit of finishing things and not just saying, all right, well, it's been a tough time. I can't finish it. You know what I mean?
Yes. And again, going back to the gym, I always like to use the analogy of fitness, but that right there is huge and can translate to everything else. But you have to be mindful of that thought, because it's very easy to get in the gym, whether you work out at home or you work out, in an actual gym itself, where you have a plan in your head, right? Or you have the plan on your phone, or you're following, a trainer or something like that, but there's nobody there to hold you accountable. So it's very easy to say, well, you know what? I was supposed to do 35 minutes of cardio. Like I did 30, like let me hop off the treadmill.
Yeah.
What you're actually doing though, is you're leaving
yourself.
Yeah. You're leaving yourself short. And I think subconsciously there's science behind this, AKA the big science. But when you do that, and when you set your mind to something and then you actually come up short, you're preconceiving your mental to now be weak, right? So the expectation of yourself is never at that 100% thought process. Yeah. Whereas, even me in the sauna, something as stupid as a sauna, I have a clock on me.
I love the sauna.
Right? So it's 4 times a week, 30 minutes. It doesn't matter if I get a phone call. It doesn't matter what's going on. 30 minutes, I put the clock right outside the sauna itself, and I watch the clock. I'll do some pushies in there, some jumping jacks, some squats.
It does feel like the world conspires against you.
It does.
Certain times of your life where, like, you're in the gym and you get all these calls. And you're like, I have to take
You
them.
don't think that's on purpose?
100%.
Right?
That's
the
they don't
test.
want you to win, Dave.
And I'm not joking. That's the test, right?
I think God
so you have
might
to
be,
find a way.
I think DJ Khaled might be God. Everything he says is true. They don't want you to win. God did.
They are against you.
Something about putting a foot on the pedal. I found personally, when my foot's not on the pedal professionally, in my social life and family life, I also slack. If I'm busy, there's a saying, if you want to get something done, ask someone who's busy. And I think it's because you have the momentum of, you have a full day, And rather than, all right, well, I'm done at 12 and I'll just relax, and you sit on the couch and don't do anything. It's I have 2 hours to like make dinner or something memorable with the family, right? I have this smaller amount of time that I need to actually use versus you have a whole evening where nothing really is remarkable. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. One thing I'm trying to just control in my own life right now is I'm convinced, just like you're saying, that there's always going to be these external factors, always 100% of the time. But the most successful people have the ability to keep the outside stuff on the outside and really hone in to the inside. And they don't allow the outside stuff to get in. Look at a ship. I think you've given this analogy in the past before, right? The water's the same. You're still in the same ocean. But the ship is not going to sink unless you allow that external water to get inside the ship, right? So what we have to do as individuals is keep that negative noise and those external factors that are distractions away from us, right? So it's like really like protecting your peace. So whatever your peace is in that moment, whether it's working out, whether you're locked into a business meeting, that's your peace in that moment, right? So you have to have a due diligence to say, F that outside water is not coming into my peace right now. And then when we allow that to happen in parenting and relationships, in business or in fitness, we end up coming short for the day, right? You come up short. And it's okay to come up short once in a while, right? And obviously, if there's a real big external distraction that needs immediate attention, of course you got to get to it. But at the end of the day, no call. If I'm 15 minutes late on a phone call, right? If a phone call comes in and I miss it and I get back 15 minutes later, is it really the end of the world?
Yeah.
And God forbid, worst case scenario, somebody died. That person already died. So we're 15 minutes later. No, seriously, right? 15 minutes later, it's really not the end of the world.
Yeah.
You know, and I've been really trying to like hone into that thought process, control what I can, protect my peace on the inside. The external is going to play itself anyway.
Yeah. Well said. It's a volume.
Fucking preacher Reg over here.
It's a repetition volume thing too. Like if you are doing things 7 days a week, 6 days a week, 5 days a week, and one day doesn't pan out, it then doesn't ruin your week.
Yes.
But if you're doing something 3 times a week and one day doesn't pan out, it might ruin your week.
Ooh.
So, and the reason I talk about it this way is like real estate. If I'm having 50 conversations in a day and 2 conversations go bad, it's not going to ruin my day, right? It's overall, it's not a bad day. If I have 4 calls and 2 go bad, it's a bad day. 50% of the calls are bad. So I'm finding that a basic principle for the business I'm in and just life in general is it's a volume game. You just got to put in more reps, right? Like the more reps of working out you put in, okay, maybe you fail at the last rep, but you put in really good reps before. So it's like, are you going to be discouraged that you didn't get the max of whatever? I got, 8 reps of this other thing, so I'm okay. So that whole that whole thought process now of like it's a numbers game, so you have to multiply your numbers has gone very clear to me now being off on my own. Mailers. So I do mailers a lot. There's a couple core principles that I've been really looking to for this, and a couple of them are like more conversations. I have to see more properties, and I have to do more marketing. That's it. It's very simple. You just got to do more of those, and it's a numbers game. You don't need don't worry about the efficiency of everything in the beginning. Just worry about the volume, and then you could get better at it because you're doing repetitions.
Yes.
Like if I see 100 homes, naturally I'm going to be better at looking at homes because I've seen 100. Right. If I have 100 conversations, naturally, I'm not saying you don't have to work at it, but just by osmosis, when you talk to 100 people, subconsciously, you're going to be more smooth on the phone and know how to get to point B quicker.
Yes.
Right? So I've been guilty because I do love the whole branding. I love the marketing. I love all the fancy stuff.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things, and I think will set you apart. But in the beginning, if you're not making money, you're out of business.
Yes.
And the way to make money is to see more houses, have more conversations, do more marketing. Right?
I love it. So you just basically introduced us to the
We're done.
To
That's
the topic,
it. That's the episode.
You know what I mean? But before we do that and we really get into it, CV, let them know where we get this protein at.
We wanted to take a quick second to let you guys know that we partnered with our good friends over at Orgain.com. We're happy to offer our listeners 30% off by entering the code NoSnooze30. Again, that's NoSnooze30 for 30% off your first order. If you're on the market for a new protein powder, nutritional shake, protein bar, or Mike's favorite, collagen peptides, Orgain is your one-stop shop. As all of you know, my Crohn's disease is currently in remission, and the only protein I use is from Orgain. My personal favorites are the chocolate peanut butter and the vanilla bean. With the code, you can try a 2-pound tub for under $20. Talk about not snoozing. Go get yours today. Now, back to the epi.
So there's a famous coach, Vince Lombardi, right? This could kick off our topic in a nice way. 1960, Green Bay Packers, Super Bowl, they end up losing. Day one, 1961, Vince Lombardi comes into training camp and says to his coaches and his players, listen, we are starting from the basics, right? Before last season, there were some failures, but we didn't do the fundamentals properly. So literally the first thing he says, day one, and everyone starts laughing at him. He says, fellas, this right here is a pigskin, right? So he dumbed it all the way down to then some players were making fun of him like, coach, you got to slow down. I don't understand that concept, right? But literally page by page was something that they've never done in the past. They went page by page in their like off-season book, right? Through the workouts, through how to block, how to tackle, literally from A to Z. Who won the Super Bowl in 1961?
Jets.
The Green Bay Packers. Who won the Super Bowl again in 1962? The Green Bay Packers, right? So he was so, and he was asked, what was the separator there? And he said, honestly, we took the basics for granted. And then once we got back to it, you're talking about the most elite professionals in the world. This is a freaking pigskin. Like, this is a football. That's what we're doing. Obviously, we're getting paid tons of money to play, but that's how basic he had to get, and then walk them through the entire process to ultimately lead them to Super Bowls.
What was the back end of that message?
What?
This is a pigskin. What was the follow-up to that?
No, he started from the basics.
No,
like, guys, we're playing football. This is an actual football.
I know, but what was like the next message he gave them? I'm curious now.
Oh, no. After the pigskin?
Yeah.
No, it was like, and
we have to protect this or something.
No, they were basically like, obviously it's a football. And he's
yeah.
like, no, this season is about the basics. So I'm taking you back to step one. When you first stepped on the field, day one, when you were 4 years old, you were introduced to a football.
He was arousing emotion.
Yes, so I introduced you to
I was curious at what his like
pigskin.
message was,
Right.
you know?
Mike Pirelli, I'm a little disappointed. You missed my movie reference.
What
is
did you
it?
say in
Throw
here?
the fucking pigskin.
Oh, Glory Road.
No.
What,
Varsity Blues, man.
I raised you to be a winner, so damn it, boy, win! Now fire that fucking pigskin! Oh!
I was close.
I think it's
I've
Varsity
never
Blues.
seen
Are
Varsity
you freaking
Blues.
kidding me?
I've never
I
seen
was
Varsity Blues.
so
Greatest football movie.
I was so close.
I only know Varsity Blues because of Not Another Teen Movie.
I literally was super close.
So he got back to the basics
Yes.
with that. That's a whole nother element, is like the coaching aspect
Yes.
is interesting.
Well, I think for us as athletes growing up,
listen,
okay.
I appreciate you lumping me in as
all
an
right,
athlete.
all right, whatever.
I've come to peace with this. I was an overachiever
Yeah.
in the athletic world, but I, to this day, don't consider myself an athlete.
Right. But
I consider myself a bodybuilder. All right, back to you.
I think athletics in general give people a good understanding of basic fundamentals, right? I remember a lesson that I learned in basketball my senior year, going from my junior to my senior year. My coach pulled me aside, like, listen, you shot 79% from the free throw line. That's not great, right? Like, you're the top player on the team, like you shooting 79%, you're going to go to the line a lot, and you need to be well above 85%. So that summer, I literally shot free throws, right? One of the most basic movements in basketball. You look at Michael Jordan, you look at Derek Jeter, you look at Kobe Bryant, you look at the Muhammad Ali's, any great athlete, Tiger Woods, they always revert back to the most basic things. And that could be a layup, that could be a slap shot in hockey or whatever it is. But even in warm-ups, right, you're doing the most basic fundamentals. And what's crazy, I think, if you're not in the athletic world growing up, you really just go through life not understanding those little lessons, which is why even as a parent, even if it is dance or, you know, another sport like swimming, right, those lessons are extremely valuable and I think put you ahead. But now the big connection has to happen when you get to business, right? When you're at that business level, what are your actual basic fundamentals? I remember for me, when I was trying to even put myself in a position of power, within my organization, one of the most basic things that I had to do every single day was dress professional, because I saw everybody else around me like kind of coming in sweatpants. I was in the recreation world. You can easily do that, but I wanted to separate myself. So one of the basic things that I did every single day was I showed up and I tucked my polo shirt into my khaki pants. And it was something that was extremely basic, but it separated me in the long run. Right. And then I think as your business evolves, now my basics in business comes down to communication, management of people. And I have to continue to do those things on a daily basis, because if not, you fall off. Right. So you're saying getting back to your basics, I think I kind of agree with, but also disagree with, because I think they evolve as you move forward in business.
Yeah.
Right?
So for my personal experience, the back to the basics is more of a note on a couple things, personal life and professional. Personally, going through having a second child, there's a lot of things that you just can't. You could, but it's not. Your life gets adjusted, right? Like the basics of getting good sleep, it doesn't happen. So you got to readjust. You got to figure out when you can get naps in. You can catch up on sleep. That's just one example. With my professional life, we went through 3 years of a market where typically you don't negotiate, right? It's how many offers can you get, and on the selling side, I negotiate, but I have all the power, right? There's no like basic fundamental of, make your offer as clean as possible and communicate with the agent so that they understand that you know what you're doing on your end, you're local, et cetera, et cetera. It's get the offer in and hope it does well, because there's no time to create rapport. The basics of holding open houses. People didn't do it. It sold in the weekend. Why hold an open house?
So things went away. Like
seeing inventory.
Basic fundamentals.
I
went
couldn't
away
see
at that time.
inventory because it would be selling a day. So I'm like, I can't even go see it because it has a deal.
Right.
So like, there's been a lot of things that I think have created a lot of laziness in the industry, not because of people's fault, just because of the market. Whereas now, stuff's staying on the market longer. You're able to see the inventory. You're able to negotiate. I'm able to have the 4 or 5 conversations, and it doesn't get any offers, right? Showing properties. It used to be, I'm going to stack you guys 15 minutes after each other, and we're going to go through. Not a lot of time for questions. If you have questions, give me a call later, but like I got to get to the next people. Now it's the basics of after the showing, do you have any concerns? Is there anything I can address? There's all these things that in a fast-paced, crazy market, you just didn't have the repetition.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So now that I'm getting back to all of it, I'm like, oh, this is what it feels like to host an open house where you can actually breathe and you can wait and you talk to people. This is what it's like to price a property and actually use comps and say, like, listen, this is what the market is showing us, and this is, I think, where we should be priced in a different market that's more of a buyer's market today versus, yeah, we'll take a shot at your number because let's just get on the market and we will get offers. So there's all these things that you're forced to change that now I'm dialing back.
Right.
I'm like, all right, that's not the approach anymore. Now the approach is let's give a price that's actually what we think it's worth.
Right. No, well said. I think a great challenge for people, because this happens for, Mike CV and I, when we think about these topics, and then you're forced to think about them. But you should be thinking about what basics are in your life and the basics that you're not implementing, right? For me, health and wellness, I remember my basics were very simple, as they should be, but it was like work out 5 days a week and, eat clean when you're working. Like those were 2 very basic principles, whereas now it's evolved because people will say, oh, yeah, like he's got a decent body. But why? It's because 14 years now of the basics have went from that to now today. It's like, okay, I have to get 5 strength workouts a week. I have to get 4 cardio sessions in, right? I'm meal prepping. I'm following programs. I think the level of your basics need to change if you want to get to that next level. Yeah. As a parent, I had jotted a couple things down when I was in the gym. But the basics I remember at first was just be present, right? Like just be somewhere that you're in the vicinity of being around your child, because the presence is going to attach to a relationship, right? Whereas now the basics are like, listen, I need to hit the park with Callie. I need to now, pray with her at night. I need to start instilling the little habits that now have evolved. But now if I look at them as basics and I practice them consistently every single day with her, she's going to be more likely to understand the fundamentals of life as she moves forward, right? So it's not just in the gym. It's not just parenting. It's not just, your relationships. It's not just in business. The basics and the fundamentals really, I think, drive success.
I think it helps with clarity too. I think when I get overwhelmed or I need to like recenter myself, I think back to the basics of what makes me happy, what makes me unhappy, and how do I do more of what makes me happy. You know, like sometimes when you ask simple questions, you can actually get answers.
Yep.
When you ask these grandiose things like, what does your perfect life look like? Like it gets hard versus like, all right, well, today was not a great day. I was very unhappy. Why was I unhappy? And how can I change it?
Yep. I will speak on something in business that I notice all the time. When individuals are in business, and this could, I'm sure, could relate to the real estate world as well, and really in any industry you're in. I think we as teachers, once you're in the position for a while and you've seen the markets, you've seen the organization, you know how things go, we fall into what's called the common sense trap, where we assume that everybody understands what the basics of the job is, right? I remember talking to one of my foremen and saying, listen, this kid is really not pulling his weight. I understand he's a summer employee, but like it looks like he doesn't really know how to even mop properly. So I said to the foreman, who's been there 20 plus years, did you show him how to mop? And his response back to me was like, why would I show him how to use a mop? Right? But we're doing a disservice.
I don't know how to mop.
Right. But think about this, right? If there's schmutz on the ground, and you
first off, I would never use a mop because it's 2022.
Well, no,
like,
I mean,
get a Swiffer.
But listen, if there's schmutz on the ground, I'll try to paint the example, right? There's a big difference between coming and sweeping up that schmutz, getting it out of there, making sure there's a dry surface, and then taking a dry surface, then taking a clean mop and cleaning that area. Right? Versus if we don't teach this skill and we just say, yo, mop that. There's schmutz on the floor. Now you take a clean mop, you put it right on top of the stuff that should have been swept and thrown away, and now you're just rubbing schmutz on the ground.
That's
right?
a basic I did not know.
But
I would take a Swiffer right to that wet schmutz.
Right? But a very specific, like, stupid example like that. Like, we're setting people up for failure because we don't even know the own basics of our job. To us, it seemed, and by us, I'm saying anybody who's in any industry for a period of time, you get so good at the basics that you completely forget that, like, oh yeah, it's common. This is just common sense. Everybody should know it. Whereas, like, if you are trying to train somebody, you really need to walk them through the entire process from A to Z. And this is something for you if you're taking on, new, not new business, but new individuals into your company and you want them to run shit the way Mike Pirelli runs shit.
Yeah.
It's going to take you a very long time to teach everybody how to do the basics that you've already mastered.
Yeah. Well, to that point, I've tried to dumb everything down to getting back to that portion of it so that we can grow.
Yep.
Because a lot of things that we were doing in the last couple of years, again, were very rushed.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we have time to actually be thoughtful, now I just had a conversation for Tell Mike Sent You, where I sat down with my person over there, Ashley, and we basically discussed like, all right, what worked? What do we do well? And then what do we need to change? And it got down to the finiteness of each reel. I'm like, listen, for reels, I don't want any reels of like restaurants where you show me like 10 food items. I want one food item in every reel. And I want it either to be like an unveiling, an unwrapping, or assembly of a food item, and you have to have a bite at the end. We'll shoot, we're going to focus on doing more sandwiches and stuff. So on Fridays or whenever day we decide, we're going to do one place and we're going to highlight like 5 foods at that place so we can be efficient, because I don't like the chaos of trying to get organized the day of and not having a reel and having crappy reels. Mm-hmm. The basics of why people followed us because the food looks good. The last couple of reels of food didn't look good. It's not your fault.
I thought they followed because you look good.
That's true, too. That's why I do the bite at the end. But there was a lot of things that it's no one's fault. But when we had the meeting, I'm like, we just got to get back to like what we did in the beginning that worked well. Everything we did was for a purpose and it got us to this point. But we have to adjust and have a new base of things that we do and have rules.
Right.
So that I know what to expect from you, you know what to expect from me, and we can execute. Because when it's gray, it makes everything hard to evaluate. When there's no answer to questions, how do you grade a paper, right? So it's like, all right, well, here's what we're going to do. And the big 3 things we talked about is we're going to do the one food item. We're going to do no music in the background. I don't like music on my food stuff. I want you to hear the bites. I want you to hear there's a emotion that you get with, it's called ASMR, and there's an emotion attached with it. And for a sliced timber, we did music, and I was not a fan, but we were so into it that I'm like, we're not going to just now. We'll do that later. So there's all these little things that people don't think about that are important. I'm not saying you get rid of people because they did something that like they added a song to it. But if it's something you want, you have to make it clear to them that, and Ashley's been phenomenal. It's just an example of like,
of course.
The basics. So I agree with you 100%. That's just one example within the company.
Of course. I think that the gray also comes with, Mike said the term gray because there's gray areas, but I think it also comes with the inconsistencies. Right,
well,
like of not being consistent.
I think gray's not bad when you're figuring things out, but it can't be gray forever. Correct. You got to be white or black at some point, right? So like, all right, we tried this out. I don't think it works, so we're gonna do it this way.
Right. Well, that was even like us, with the podcast. Us trying to figure out, a date, a place, a time. Yeah. With a process to do it. But then once you do it, it's so locked in. It's not even like I knew like CV's off from work, so I kind of hit him up to just be like, yo, we're still good because I know you're off, but. For the most part, the three of us already know, like, our date and time and our place is already set in stone. It's the same thing in business with my meetings. When I first did it, the very first thing that I had to like really commit to is the consistency of it. Because if you start letting people miss their scheduled time frame with you, then that area stays gray, right? And then there's inconsistency sometime, but it's like, no, if you really want to be consistent, you have to continue to do the motions. And even the dumb motions are hard. That's what people don't understand. Mastering there's a saying called master the mundane, right? Oh, no. There's mastery in the mundane. The dumb, stupid things that you look at, and if you did it once or twice, it's kind of dumb, but then it becomes mundane because you do it every single day. Mastery in any form, in any sports world, in any success story, 9 times out of 10, that individual that's successful has mastered the stupid, mundane things. And that's what I'm trying to do in my own life, right? People look at me and they call me a robot sometimes. And it's just because I do this same thing over and over and over again because I figured out some of the basics in my life that work, right? And it's like, why deviate away from them? I mean, you can tweak them here and there, but if I have a formula for myself, maybe other people are looking at it like, oh yeah, this guy's life is great, or he doesn't have problems, or I wish you should see what I'm going through. Cool, sounds good, but it doesn't matter what's going on in my life. I've been able to master the stupid, dumb things that people look at and be like, oh wow, he works out every single day. Oh, he reads 10 pages every single day. It's like, yeah, and I don't care what's going on in my life. I might miss a day here and there, but for the most part, I'm trying to master the mundane tasks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right?
Repetition.
Yeah, that's it. I think... Oh, what was I just going to say?
Like a basic that I just, you make me think about this.
Fuck, I forgot. I lost my thought, but go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I'll pick it up. Like I keep harping on like simplifying stuff, but that goes in step with basic. So, why do you use a real estate agent or a broker? Why would you use them?
Why would I use them?
Yeah.
Because they have more knowledge in the area than I do.
Perfect. So like, all right, if I want more knowledge than them in the area, what's like the number one thing I could do? Go see inventory, right? Like if you're seeing everything in town, whether you have clients or not, when someone calls and they ask a question, it's not, oh, I haven't seen it yet. I'll check it out this week. It's, yeah, I saw that property. I don't think it's the right fit. I know 2 other ones that are kind of close by, and they are in your price range. So like the conversation gets so different right off the bat, and your value is forward right in the start versus like, oh, I mean, I think I like the guy. He sounds normal. Like he says his Greenwich is in the name, so he must know So like just that simple question and that answer gives you a very clear approach to what you got to do.
That's a good point.
Right?
Yeah.
So like,
absolutely.
Any profession that you want to figure out what is your, pillar is why would someone use you if you're selling a service or a product? Right?
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you adjust your mindset when you have such a the next thing kind of like attitude about whatever it is that you do?
To
having to then recognize that maybe I need to go back to the basics.
When it's not working for me.
Right. Well, that's a good point. But I also think for me, it's the thought process, right? So I am very much like CV just said. I'm kind of, thinking of the next task. But one of my most basic things, and I don't know if I've shared this before, but for the past, I want to say 6 months, it's been consistent. I take cold showers, right, after the gym, after the sauna specifically, just because of the science behind, getting your body really hot and then getting your body really cold. But this freaking shower is the most basic task ever, but it's one of the hardest things that I literally do every single day because it doesn't get easier. Because you step into that cold shower and it is freezing. It doesn't matter how hot you've just been. Once you're in there, and I just crank it, right? But I've noticed that in my head, I don't just say, I'm going to take this cold shower. I break this task down to literally A to Z, right? I basically create a task list.
30 steps.
No, I'm serious. I create a task list in my head. I'm like, the step 1, turn the water on, right? So it's not just me jumping into the shower. It's like, okay, now I got to wash my arms. Because if I focus on just doing the thing.
You do like the old school
dude,
way. It's my dad does getting pools.
No, literally. Because I've noticed that if I just say I'm going to go take a cold shower, I won't do it.
Wait, is this like coldish water?
No, this
sounds
ice.
cold.
So just the cold?
I'm
only
cold
the cold?
just
Crank to the cold, stay in there for 5 minutes.
Oof.
Right?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. It's
long
torture.
time.
It's literally torture. But I've noticed that if I have that mindset right there, just crank it and go, I'm failing. Whereas if I say, turn it on, check 1.
Crank it and
wash
go.
your arms, wash your head, wash your ass, wash your legs. Like, I do it step by step. And I think for me, that's a big difference maker. Because I can't follow through on even dumb tasks if I don't break stuff down in my head.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Well,
that's what keeps me from just jumping to the next thought, because I break it down, such a stupid thought, into like 1,000 different ones. Does that make sense?
It does, but that just thinking of it.
Yo,
it's hard
literally,
to my
you
back.
like challenges, right? You like challenges, even for your own, even for people
In
listening
general,
to this.
in general.
And this is
Mike
no
told me
joke.
he needs a new challenge for this year.
Yeah,
so.
this is no joke, right?
Mine survive.
Literally, take a cold shower. Start at 3 minutes. Ice cold shower. Crank it to cold. Do it for 30 days straight. Tag Dave Regina when you do it.
I'm out.
In the summer or
No,
In the
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's
the summer
torture.
sucks, too.
It's the most humbling experience in the world,
Yeah.
and it wakes your
I
ass
could
up.
try in the summer outside. In the
And it
middle of
wakes
the
you up.
heat,
So I have a devil's advocate here. I understand like doing hard things and stuff. Sometimes I just want to do what I enjoy.
Absolutely, I love a nice
Like,
warm shower.
I'd much rather do a sauna than a cold shower. Like if you gave me the option,
of course. Well, duh.
it's not. Of course, some people hate being hot. I enjoy
don't like
it.
being hot. I don't like
So you
being hot,
see?
but I do it. But if I told you that just being in the sauna for 20 to 30 minutes 4 times a week, 50% less likely to even just catch the flu or the common cold, more people would get in that
Hey,
sauna.
big stat. What does the
Big
cold shower do?
What?
What does the cold shower do?
So the cold shower is for the brain, right?
Oh, I'm good.
No,
I'm just kidding.
the cognitive on the brain is crazy. Like the
Stimulation?
I don't know if it's stimulation, but the triggers, wrong camera, CB. But the
No, that was good. My reaction was like,
yeah,
what?
but the triggers that happen in your brain when your body goes from hot to extremely cold, it literally wakes everything up. So that's why they say cold in the morning, warm at night, because your receptors begin to shut down when you feel the heat on your body. So in the brain, when you're late at
I
night,
do feel relaxed when I
yes,
come out of a sauna.
right, and taking a shower late at night, it should be warm versus in the morning, it shocks the body.
So when you do the cold shower,
Mhm.
you do the 5-minute cold shower.
Yeah.
Do you then bring it back to like warm to
No,
kind of cozy you
no,
up?
I gun it, and it's easy. Honestly, it's easy after minute 2, but the first 2 minutes, people, I swear to God, they're like, "Yo, what are
Minute
you
2?
doing?"
The ice bath thing too?
Bugging out.
Do you do ice baths?
No, I don't have an ice bath. I don't have a
No,
bath
I'm
big
just
enough
saying.
to
You
put ice in.
put-
How much freaking ice cubes I have to
Dude,
put in a
get to
bath?
the
dude?
basics.
Get
put it
back to the
outside.
basics. Just put it outside.
See,
I might jump in the lake. That's a good one.
I got no urge to get cold, but I guess maybe I should try.
well, dude, and look at the actual benefits. So I'm googling it for you now.
See, all this stuff in theory, I love, but
Okay, so
I'm not making the time to
No,
jump in ice.
it's
bath
not
in
making the
morning.
time. You do it
I'm just
anyway.
telling you, it's
if
not
you
priority.
shower, you just crank it cold and you do it in the morning. But on
I don't
top of that
shower all the
brain,
time.
on top of the you're nasty. On top of the brain stuff, being immersed in cold water, even in the shower, stimulates leukocytes, the white blood cells that help fight off sicknesses as well. So it causes the lymphatic system to contract, forcing fluid through the lymph nodes. This process aids in detoxing the body and strengthening the entire immune system.
The big data.
Science.
The
is
big
back.
stat. A lot of big names.
Come on, man.
The big stat.
Fuck. Get in the cold shower.
I like it.
It's good.
It's not a challenge.
It's
at
very hard, Mike. I'm telling you, and every day.
all. No, I know it looks hard. That's why I'm not doing it.
I dread it. And the noises you make are wild. And then I've even tried to like control the breathing. It's very hard.
Do you
I wanna
ever
learn
do you
that
ever
Wim
get
Hof
comfortable
breathing.
in that or no?
Yes, after 2 minutes.
After
2
2
minutes, I could stay in there
Because
for
you're numb
20.
and you have
Oh, really?
frostbite.
Yeah.
Because you have frostbite.
But the first 2
You're
minutes,
numb. Your whole
Bro,
body is numb.
the first 2 minutes, and I try to really limit the time even outside from the sauna.
is that why you're always so wet when you work out?
No.
You jump in the water first?
No, I do this after, bro. So, but after the sauna, right, I literally have to run, hang my towel, crank it, because I'm like, well, my body's still a little warm, so maybe it'll feel better. Nah.
Isn't that worse though? Wouldn't that be worse
What?
if you're because I'm very sensitive in my body temperature.
Mhm.
If I'm too warm, the cold water hurts me even more. When my body temperature kind of drops a little bit, then I can finagle harsher
But
conditions
that's
for
the
my
whole point.
body.
You're supposed to shock
But if you're
the
really
body.
really warm and I
Yeah.
go get in a cold shower, even
No,
you know,
the sauna
an
is 180
intermediate
degrees,
kind
bro.
of, you know.
No, the sauna is 180 degrees.
No,
It's
I
not
know,
warm.
but your body is super warm.
Yes.
So that
your body temperature
drastic,
gets to like 110 degrees.
that drastic change, that's a fever. That's a that's a
It is-
drastic
it is.
change for your
Major
body to take. I personally can't do that. I need.
What
to
do you
be
mean? Of course you can.
I
But
need
it's
to
the
be,
mental.
I need to be cold.
It
I can
will
be
show
outside.
you. Talk about challenges. It will show you how weak we really are. No, you go. Say that again in the air.
For real.
That was pretty
Just
funny.
thinking about it making me weak.
But it's true because you realize, like, you think you're mentally tough, right? I think I'm a mentally tough guy. And I know I have a long way to go. But I remember after I read this and I tried it, I was like, oh, nah. I will do any and everything besides this right now.
So if mental toughness was like martial arts, like different in
Yep.
the weather toughness, I'm the worst.
Yeah.
I get cranky when I'm hot. I'm like, it's too hot in here. It's way too hot. Or when
See,
it's cold,
that's
I'm
what I can
cold.
do. When it comes to weather, I can endure super
So
hot,
you're like a-
super cold, and obviously everything in between. That
See,
I
I,
think
like
it's
my
because you're
temperature
vulnerable.
just-
the thought process of that is making
You
my
could be vulnerable too, because you watch your speepoline go back inside you.
Like
you
a
know,
turtle.
you get an inverted sheep.
true.
You know what I mean? Like,
It
and
happens.
it's very humbling to sit there and in the cold shower, just butt naked, like
It's a lot of effort to like torture yourself.
And then
you know?
when you turn around, what's crazy is like when it hits your face, you know, you're like
back's the
you
worst.
gasp. But then it gets used to it after like you getting hit with that cold water. But then you turn to your shoulder, you turn to your back. Oh, it's like starting over again.
when I get suntan lotion on me, I go, whoa.
yeah,
I'm one of those
exactly.
guys. Yeah.
Yo, but people in the gym, they're like, yo, what are you doing in there?
Yeah.
Like, I thought you had somebody else with you. Yes, yeah, it's crazy. Good challenge for people.
No wonder
though. Happy
everyone
holidays.
knows you in the gym. You're like screaming in the shower. You're literally the guy that can't go
Yo,
to Planet Fitness.
No joke though.
You're that guy.
I remember at the beginning, I can't go to Planet Fitness because I grunt and I have chalk and I slam my weights and I take a cold
Walk around
shower.
with a gallon of water.
But I remember, it's a judgment-free zone, isn't it?
Not anymore.
But I remember, I literally remember getting in there and then being like, no pain is forever. No pain is forever. No, but
All right, what
you're
other
like
basics do you have? Because I don't like this one. I don't want to do this one.
Well, I think everything in my life is basic. You know, I just do it at a high level now. You know what I mean? Like anything that I do is
It's
basic.
like sports, right? If someone's very good at taking a jump shot, it's very basic movement.
Well, sports are the perfect analogy. You should have listened to what I said at the beginning.
I did. I was listening. I'm finally understanding.
There was a something that I had read, and it said mastering the fundamentals is hard. We have to endure countless hours of tedious, thankless work. But those of us who endure this process reap the rewards of the other side, right? And I think too often our habits, we fall off before we really get good at these dumb things.
What do you tell the people that are the naysayers of the habits, or not? Maybe not the naysayers.
What does that
but
mean?
They like to jump. Well, there's a lot of people that like to cut corners. They want to make it to the to the next thing. They want to progress so fast,
Like me.
that you know
That's true.
they don't want to go take the free shot, practice shot every single day for 100, 1,000 just to practice. They want to just get in the game and just chuck them all up there. There's
Yeah.
a lot of people like that just will
Yeah, I think the
I don't want to put it to work. You know what I mean?
right. Well, I think the level of success for that individual will always be different. I think there's stories that you get to get rich quick here and there, whatever. But
Love those stories.
even
by the way.
I mean they're good. They're good stories, and they
Some
make
of my
for
favorite.
a good story. But to those people, I really would challenge, like, you think about it. You're so mentally weak that you can't even stick to a plan of some sort to try to reap the benefits. Now, if you don't like these things, that's different, right? Like if you're trying a bunch of things and you try it out for a year and you're like, F that. You try something else, you do it for a year, F that. But if you're dabbling in all these different things, it's the same concept of the multitaskers, right? You're lessening your chances and your opportunity to really reap some level of success. For me, it's not only about the financial success, right? Like I want to be really good at these things, so when hard things happen in my life and there is a tough loss, or I'm going through something with a friendship, with a relationship, whatever that loss may be, I still want to be able to perform at a peak level in all the other things. People get divorced all the time, right? You watch people who get divorced crumble, right? The wife may crumble, the husband may crumble. You can't allow somebody else, and you can't rely on somebody else in a relationship to be the only reason why you function moving forward. Right. And divorce is just one example, but like, somebody dies in your family. Like you need to still have the mental toughness to move forward and hold on to the really good memories of that individual. You know what I mean? That's why I do it.
I think it's so. I think if you don't have the, I don't know if face is the right word. If you don't have the certainty that on the other side of all these habits is going to be results, that's when you fall off.
Yes.
Right? Like it's hard the first time. It's like walking through like a forest or whatever, and you're trying to get the path, right? And then once you take the path and you get to the other side of the forest, you're like, oh, that's the path. And it's easier to stick to those habits when you've done it. But doing it for the first time is the hard part because you have all these actions you're taking, these basic habits, actions, but you don't see results yet. Once I'm like the type where, at least for me, this is how I feel. When I get that first result, I'm like, oh, I got the path. Like it might be, I can't see in front of me, but I already got this far. Like it's very hard for me, and real estate was tough in the beginning because there's such a long time between that. Like you do all these actions and it might take 3 months, 6 months to get the result. So sticking with it and sticking to the plan, sticking to the habits, the basics, so hard when you don't have any proof that it works. You know what I mean?
That's a very good point, but I also think you should be looking at like whatever lane you're in. You should be able to identify, 2, 4, 6 basic habits that somewhere along the way that this will work, right? Like you've read in a book, you've seen in a movie, you've followed somebody
but
on
everyone thinks
Instagram
it doesn't
for a
work
long
for
time.
me. Those are different. That's how everyone thinks, even myself.
Why?
Everyone thinks they're a unicorn. You don't think you're a unicorn?
A unicorn? Why?
Yeah, don't you feel that way?
What's a unicorn?
I feel like,
Like, what
do you know what I'm trying to say?
What does that mean, though? What analogy
Let
is
me
that?
finish this thought first, though. No, the other way, too. Like, where that works for them, but I'm different. That's how I feel all the time.
No, I don't feel that way because, like, honestly, at the end of the day, though, like...
Do you like that? I'm different.
I'm different. What really... I think you can, if you have a path, right? And along this path, you can just look at... And that's where also I think people go wrong. Your path should not be a 50-step process.
That comes with time.
That comes with time.
It's a big process.
Right? You saying to yourself, tomorrow, I want to, establish 16 good habits, you're probably going to fail because you haven't even done one. So what makes you think that you can do 16? Right? The concept of 10,000 hours with success. 10,000 hours is 10 years of work. Right? Like you have to put in work over an extended period of time. It's compound interest. Somebody might look at me in the gym and be like, why does this dude do sets of 5 pull-ups every single day? Right? Why does he, after he does 5 pull-ups, do 10 push-ups?
That's nickels and dimes.
It's nickels and dimes.
I know
right?
this.
But at the end of the day, that's a way that my body just gets warm, right? It's a habit. And honestly,
that's my full workout.
But my habit of something so little and dumb, like once I do that over the course of 3 years.
Oh, but I have a good point.
How many pull-ups and push-ups did I do in 3 years?
Do you think that you stuck with it because you actually enjoyed the action?
I stuck with pull-ups. Me personally, pull-ups, I couldn't do one. I couldn't do one.
Did you enjoy the pursuit and action of it?
Wait, what?
Like, did you enjoy working out? Correct.
Well, honestly, yes. So,
Like,
I mean,
I'm trying to make a point.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy seeing properties. So that's a habit that is going to pay dividends in the future, but I'm sticking to it because I enjoy it, right? I'm not saying you're going to enjoy everything,
Yeah.
but your chances of sticking to those are as if you can enjoy the work,
right. Well,
the
you should
results
be
will come
enjoying
type of
things.
thing.
I agree. Yeah, but I
But there's
remember.
certain habits I'm not doing.
But I remember
because I
being
don't
like,
enjoy it.
I remember being like over. I was over 200 pounds at the time, and I like thought I was strong, but I couldn't like even get my chest to the bar. I'm like,
hey, listen,
just weak.
now you're talking shit.
no, I'm not.
I'm just kidding.
I'm
joking.
telling you,
I'm
I was
joking.
weak because I would look at these big dudes and I'm like, damn, these dudes are flying
All right,
over the
Dave,
bar.
I need to do pull-ups. I need to
I
do
can't
shows. I
even
do
do one.
calves. I know.
But I'm trying to prove your
I know, I'm
point
kidding.
because I remember being like, oh, well, maybe that will make you, like your lats
Taper.
a little bit bigger. And, sure enough, me with my shirt off to the back, I look like a gorilla. But,
Mostly because you're hairy. But
right,
yes.
because I'm hairy, because I'm hairy and I got a big back. But so yes, I think you do enjoy it, but there are so many days, dude. Even in the morning now, especially it's cold.
Yeah.
So when you first hit that first set of just pull-ups, I'm like creaking and like my body's tight and I'm like, I don't want to do it. Skip today, your joints hurt, this and that. By set 4, I'm like, all right, like I just have one more set.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure this whole thing out.
I think we all are.
My head.
I don't think there's anything.
I wish I knew what worked because stuff works, but then I'm like, I don't know if that's why it works or this why, or it's maybe it's just a combination.
Think about it.
I guess it also correlates with the whole cold shower theory because I mean, in the morning you wake up and you have to go do your pull-ups and everything's creaking and hurting and so much easier than that.
Yeah,
I guess you got to dive into the cold water and make all the weird noises and get out.
It's bad though, but that's one habit. Honestly, everything else I'll do all day long.
Pull-ups.
Pull-ups I'll do all day long. No, I'm saying the cold shower.
Oh,
I will do every single thing. I'll make my bed every day. I will drink my water every day. I will pray every day. I will do all of the basic things that I do every single day. But that cold shower never gets easy, ever, and it's horrible. It's really horrible.
sounds terrible.
I know it sounds really bad.
That's a
Am I
challenge I will
inspiring
not
you to
be
go
taking. No,
take a cold shower?
Maybe at some point in my life. I'm like, if you're a black belt in that world, I'm like a white belt. I don't even know how the belts work.
But I'm not a black belt. But my point,
I don't have
what I mean?
I don't have a belt. Period.
my point.
No.
Point. Listen, if I can't, and this is how I think. But if I can't, the same thing that you thought with going on your own with the real estate stuff, right? If you couldn't do it for your body, like how could you do it in business? For me, if I can't crank a shower to the left,
I mean, I could do it,
but
do
you get
I
what I'm
wanna
saying?
Do it,
But if
No.
I can't, 100%. But if I can't mentally do that small task for 5 minutes out of my day, what really makes me believe that I can sit here and have a podcast with my boys that's going to go somewhere, or I'm going to be the youngest commissioner that New York State has ever seen, or I'm going to get the next opportunity, and every 5 years I'm going to save enough money to be able to buy that building. What makes me think that I can do that if I can't even crank a shower to the left and take a damn cold shower?
Delusion.
Delusion. There you go.
It's a great
and
place
that's
to
why
be.
people fail, because you're fucking delusional.
Great
Right?
place to be.
It's true though. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But
I honestly
we're
don't
figuring
know.
it out 100%.
I honestly don't know. It's hard for me to listen to all this, and because I do agree with it, but my past has not proven that I'm like hardened in that sense of like doing things daily. I go through phases, seasons. There's progress, and I made a lot of progress. And yes, I can argue if I was more consistent, probably more progress. But it's hard to say that. It's hard to say that I would be farther along if I did it a different way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, there's no proof, but at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer that like
I agree with everything you're saying.
and you've done a lot of habits that
To
are
an extent,
basic,
but different.
to an extent, but maybe not over a period of time that like I'm kind of talking about. When I lock in, and it's like I'm not going backwards.
Yeah.
But I understand though how people kind of dabble in, you dabble out. You're kind of in, you see progress, you justify this, you justify that. I think that's the norm. But do you believe that if I told you every single day from the day that you started, right, you had made, I don't know, what's easy, 2 additional phone calls on top of what you've done every single day, you don't think you would have sold more properties, which would have resulted in more money, which could have been more success for you? I don't know.
Yeah, so my argument there is like maybe I would have done that, but then I wouldn't have done Tell Mike saying it. Right?
Could be, yeah, 100%.
So it's hard to like
100%.
look back and be like,
Maybe you didn't
do
go
it
to the
right.
park with your daughter. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you didn't have a good
it's
memory.
hard because it's like I don't know. You can't.
But then that comes down to priority.
Well, now I think for me, kind of doing the shotgun approach to start, and granted, it's been 9 years, but real estate's a tough market. I'm in a tough area, very competitive. Like, it takes a long time to get your footing. Maybe there is a point at which I need to get really hyper-focused, which I've been doing slowly. I've been getting more tunnel vision to get to a point where it's like, all right, you got your things. Now don't add any new things because you got to accelerate. So to your point, maybe it is the time to kind of like confine things and say no to more, which we've talked about.
But you might do that for 2 years. You might reach a level of success and then be like, all right, I'll take on another opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I kind of chase to like, am I enjoying it? Am I doing well? Am I seeing progress?
Right.
And don't get too like in the weeds with stuff. Like, I like data, but I don't like beating myself up a lot.
So I think we both have
You know what
two,
I mean?
Yes, that's a good point. But
What
I think
I'm trying to
we have two different perspectives, because to me, you just said, well, did I see progress, right? Whereas my thought process is so different, because once I even completed my workout, whether I lost body fat or anything like that, that's progress to me, right? So my scale of progress might be much smaller than your scale.
Yeah, I think of more of like yearly, right?
You
Like,
think, right.
And it doesn't
Right.
have to be just.
And it's not wrong. It's just different.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be A and B, right? So, or excuse me, it doesn't have to be like, for example, a volume of sales, right? It could be, all right, well, year one, I had a lot of co-brokes. So I had a good volume of sales,
that
but they weren't my,
co-brokers?
like, yeah, so
on the-
like
on the
we're
deal?
partners.
On the deal.
Yeah.
Right.
So like maybe year one's like, all right, well, I had some deals, but they weren't mine. I didn't generate the leads. Then it was like, all right, well, 50% were me, 50% of the other, and I sold a little more. Then it was like, all right, this year I didn't sell. I sold the same amount, but they were all from me. And then the following, so like sometimes it isn't apples to apples. It's
See, but I'm
progress
thinking of
in like independence
yes.
and feeling like I'm getting towards the ultimate goal of being independent.
That's the thing right
So
there,
it's
though. Your
tricky.
goals are bigger than mine, because when you said that to me, and you said, well, I had these leads, I had these sales, I went back to, in my head, what did you do to get those sales?
No, I
What's
get
the habit? You know what I'm saying?
I get that, but I'm saying my whole process is very like on a, yeah, you're right. It's on a longer basis. So
Which
like
isn't
a
wrong.
yearly,
It's not wrong. You do a lot of stuff.
but it could be that I need to be more focused on the weekly or the daily to get to the next level, which is then going to result in more yearly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I struggle with it. I'm all over the place. If you haven't noticed watching the show, like, subscribe, and keep following NoSnoozeShop.com. I probably should get checked out because I am curious. I think I have severe ADD. Like, I think I have on the caliber of like crippling. And I think if I didn't have caffeine, so I'm 100% serious right now. If I didn't have caffeine and I wasn't doing something that I like enjoyed, I don't think I could function as a person. Like, I am so all over the place a lot of the time that sometimes when I get out of my routines and whatnot, I'm a loose cannon.
Yes.
Do you feel that also
Yeah.
sometimes?
But that's why I focus so much on the day-to-day, because even in business, if people start coming in my office talking about a Friday meeting, I honestly, no disrespect, but I can't even talk to you about this until Thursday night or Friday morning, because that is going to do exactly what you're saying.
So you would
But
talk
I've
about
gotten
Friday
good
meeting.
at that.
I would start talking about what are we going to eat? Where are we going? Do you want to go to lunch right now?
But you get what I'm saying, though,
You know?
and I know for me to be successful in my position where I'm at,
Structure.
at this point in my life, I can't structure my entire day.
Yeah.
But I can structure certain things, and I have boundaries when it comes to business, right? And I have boundaries when it comes to my personal life, because me thinking about, that Friday meeting is only going to add to my anticipation, add to my stress, add to my anxiety. Whereas like I get confidence off of like, let me get through Monday. Let me get through, Tuesday. Let me bang out Wednesday morning. Let me get through, Wednesday afternoon. And I really try to structure a 4-hour work week.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Love
Like,
forward
it's
work week.
right. You love that. But you kind of,
Well, I've always struggled with
long-term.
organization, and that's been my if I'm in Rocky, that's my Clubber Lang. Like, organization is my Clubber Lang all the time.
But what can you do to fix that?
I mean, I keep throwing swings at it, and I'm getting there. But at every level, you need to be another level of organization.
But like for me, I
maybe I
adopted
gotta
the
hire
habit.
someone.
I'm trying to think of like the stupid habits that I have. But like, it doesn't matter if I have a maintenance team that cleans my office at night, right? I clean my office every day before I leave.
Yeah. So like stuff like that. Like, I struggle with keeping everything clean because I am like, all right, next thing.
Right.
Versus like, leave it how you want to find it, whatever they say.
I'm big on that,
I know.
and I guess it is.
And I'd love to be big on it. I just can't implement it, and I'm trying.
well, that's why you got.
And I'm being
you got
very honest
co-hosts
with the
like
crew.
me, man. They're trying to help.
The question is, do you keep battling it,
Yeah, you keep pounding away.
Or do you hire someone that just kicks your ass and says, listen, I'm getting you organized, whether you like it or not.
So I think it's both.
Both.
Right?
I have to do
Because
both.
right now, my house,
Cold shower.
my house, right? We keep our house very clean. You've been to my house.
It's like a museum.
That's
how I grew up.
But that's it's like a museum. So that's to you,
It's nice.
right? But so we clean daily. Doesn't matter who's in the house. We clean daily. But then I also have a cleaning lady that comes once every 3 weeks to do like the things that you might not see, like above the windows and this and that. So like,
Dude,
I
so
do both.
bad though. I'm so bad because I'm like, our house is clean, but I'm
kidding.
like,
I'm trying to give
I
you
know. I'm
pointers and
just,
you
I'm just
keep
talking here.
justifying
I'm
why.
being honest because I think
know.
a lot of people, not a lot of people. I think some people think the way I think, and I just want to let you know, you're not the only one. Like making the bed. I get it. People come over, I'll make the bed. I rarely do it.
Mhm.
Why?
Why? So
I know there's a whole. I know, but the problem is I know the answer. I just for whatever reason.
But
it
try
does not
it.
click.
Do it.
I know.
Do it.
But the problem is
It's the bandwidth. It's the bandwidth.
I don't
100%.
understand.
With the two kids,
Well, I agree.
I can
because
only
now
fight so
Callie's
many
sleeping
battles.
with
Wait. Before the 2 kids, were you making your bed?
more often, yes, than currently. Yes.
But see, so my problem now, honestly, that bothers me because I can't even make my bed now.
exactly.
I can't because Callie's in it.
Yeah.
So like I literally can't. But
You
I'll
make
tell
around
you,
her?
no, it messes me. Imagine I just tuck her in, but it messes me up when
Not a
I
bad
come
idea.
home and I got to get in a nasty bed. And not that the bed is any cleaner,
but it
but, like,
feels nice.
there's something that like I'm getting into something that is like, it's structured, it's clean.
It actually may be even dirtier because you just locked in all the
dirt.
night sweat from the night before. You have to let that fucker
It could be,
breathe.
but I mean, you've heard that Navy SEAL speech, right? About making your bed.
It's so good. But like,
Have you heard that, CJ? Oh, it's
my
one of the
problem
best
is-
speeches of all time.
my
Make your bed.
problem- my
That's what it is.
my block is that I think too long term sometimes, where it deters me from the daily. For example,
Yeah, I agree. That's it. You just said something so profound right there. Can you repeat it?
so profound. Mike's time of the week. I'll see you next week.
No, I'm serious. Go ahead. What distracts you?
I'm going to have to re-record it and do it.
My like anticipation of long term sometimes deters me from the daily
It
action.
deters you, right?
For
That was
example.
my question before.
It's big.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it's a good question, and I'm thinking through it. Sometimes it's hard. This is difficult.
This is great, though. This is it.
For example, I think, because I'm nuts, instead of weeding my gravel driveway, I'm just gonna pave it over. So what's the point? Right? But
Well, I agree
that's
with that.
100% thought, but not immediately.
I don't like light bulbs, bro. So I literally
not
got rid of all light
immediately.
Wait,
bulbs.
that's a Band-Aid, though. We're just
No, it's
putting
not.
Band-Aids over...
That's a good example.
Why?
Of that. I
Is it?
agree with that. Yeah. Why? What? That's dumb. Why
No,
is he gonna?
no, but I
what's
get
the
the
point
other
of weeding?
side.
What's the
There's
successful thing of you weeding right now?
But there's a pride, right? Like
A pride?
to make your thing look nice.
so
because
put nice
when
cement.
but when
You're Italian.
all right,
Well, I
Let me give
believe...
another example.
I'm not going to have a good green thumb, but
No,
I believe when
but-
you don't weed,
Wait.
they will crack your cement...
Can we talk about this one
Sure.
real quick though, Mike? Because you just gave a very
let
good
me finish
example.
the thought.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Now I feel it. I understand when I interrupt.
Go ahead.
That's good. That's difficult. I give you a lot of credit, you guys. So like my yard, we have a landscaper, but like I'm not going out and trying to make progress because I'm tearing it down, I'm ripping it apart, I'm doing it. Sometimes I, in my head, think I'm gonna be able to do stuff a lot faster than I can, and I think it's around the corner. So I don't do these actions like just tidying up certain things because I'm like, I'll just friggin' renovate the house.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
But you don't have a bed maker. A bed maker is
I'm like
much
an
different.
extremist.
No, but Mike, you're
To
giving
an
two dumb
extent.
examples that I agree with.
That's a great example.
No, it's not. I agree with you. I do not find any sort of progress in my life to go outside and do something that I could pay somebody $40 a week for. You know what I'm saying? Because in the lanes of my life, in fitness, my faith, my business, where does weeds
Why is your voice
fucking
going up?
where does it
Business.
where do weeds fall in?
I believe there's a Chinese proverb out there somewhere that answers your question.
But if
I don't
you
know
do
it,
something, what's the word? If
You better enjoy it if you're gonna be weeding, because I don't enjoy weeding, and I'm not gonna be wasting my time doing that.
No, I enjoyed it. Like I did it with my father-in-law, and I actually like felt accomplished.
But that's temporary.
I know, but I see, I get it. I'm just saying sometimes when I have these grandiose plans, I'm like, why waste my time doing these little things?
Yeah. Why when I could go get liposuction, why would I get down to 10%?
For real.
For real. I debated
real.
it, right?
Yeah.
No, man. But I think your thought process is just different.
Yeah, like why would I get all these new suits and stuff if I'm gonna have an 8-pack in like a month? I think that way sometimes. Like I honestly, in my head.
Wait, the suits. What do you mean? Yeah, because you can't wear no shirt to sell the house.
Oh, I know, but I hold.
Why would I go to work
things.
every day if I'm going to win the lotto tomorrow?
Exactly. Sometimes I think that way. Like, why would I do this if I think I'm going to do this?
Well, so if that's the case, right, on that lotto approach, if you never develop the habits of a good work ethic, you'd lose all your money.
I don't believe lottery.
That's the answer.
That's not me. But do you get what I'm trying to say?
I do, but those are bad examples because I agree. I'm not weeding. I'm not doing any of that. And I don't care if they're basic tasks or not. I think people need to identify the basic tasks that you know are going to give you success. If today you sat here right now and we said till the end of 2022, you're going to reach out to every single client you've ever had and, I don't know, do some sort of basic task with them, right? Like
Dance.
Dance. No, probably not dancing. But like
no, we're getting testimonials.
Correct.
Yeah, I've done.
Oh, I
did that when I
got to do a good one for you too.
Oh, that's right.
This is No Snooze Podcast. This is my testimony.
Don't worry about it.
No, I absolutely have to do that.
But
you.
yeah, did I send you?
Yes,
something?
I did get it. But yes, so that right, like, and now you following back up with the people who didn't answer you, right? Like, how many testimonials today do you have versus if you were intentional about getting these testimonials? How many can you have at the end of the year?
Well, that wasn't the goal. The goal was to get a couple so that then I can turn around and get like I'm at a point where I don't. It'd be great to have more,
right? Well,
but that's not my best use of time currently. My best use of time currently is to see more inventory, talk to more people, like actually try to sell properties.
So worry about that and not your weeds.
No, I agree, but sometimes I'm extremist and I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Like I'm not picking.
Just gonna sit here and get rich.
Part of
Bitcoin.
I have this like thought in my head where like I'm already a billionaire. So like why? but
which is good.
Stick with me though.
Okay.
Like even multi-million, right?
Yep.
In my head, I'm not. But in my head, I'm like, would they be doing this? No. But I'm not at that point yet. I get ahead of myself. I put the cart before the horse sometimes where I'm like, I'm going to buy a building. I'm going to do like sell a house. Like you just left the company. Don't talk about buying a building. But part of it is the fun of talking about it and then going to do it.
I have a challenge for you.
Accepted. I'm not doing a lot of challenges yet.
It's not. But your thought process just made a lot of sense to me. And you said, like, why would I... What was the words that you use?
I do have to show a house shortly, so
right, which is fine, but basically about like, oh yeah, would a billionaire be doing these things? Identify the shit that the billionaire would still be doing and do that. You understand? At some level, it doesn't matter if I have $1 billion, Mike. I'm still gonna work out, right? It doesn't matter. If,
I'm not saying I'm not gonna work out.
It's not about workout. It doesn't matter if I have $1 billion CV tomorrow. You don't think I'm gonna be even more grateful tomorrow than I am today, right? There's certain habits in your life. If I'm a billionaire tomorrow, you don't think I'm going to hydrate in the morning? If I'm a billionaire tomorrow, am I not going to eat clean?
Yeah,
right?
but you're not going to be cooking for yourself.
That's fine.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I skip that. I can't skip that. That's what I'm saying.
I skip that. I'm
like sometimes I skip it where I'm like, I'm not at that stage yet.
For me in business, right? One of my basic things, it doesn't matter how I feel because this is still hard to do for me sometimes. Although I'm a respectful individual, sometimes I get attacked at the door where I have a lot of things on my mind. One basic task that I do is I greet everybody and I try to do it by name, right? Because it's a more personal feeling.
Hi, David.
But if I was, yes, correct, right? But if I was a billionaire tomorrow, that's a basic task that I'm doing regardless because I want a good, like I'm not just going to be like, F the world, I'm a billionaire. You know, you might have moments like that, but for what I'm trying to build in a legacy, right, and leave something to my daughter, if I have more kids down the line, I want people to think highly of me, right? So I want to show that basic level of respect at all times. So I think you have to sit there and say, well, if there is a billionaire real estate mogul, what are the things that Grant Cardone is still doing today?
I know, but he's got like a private jet. And I just
shut up, Mike.
I enjoy the journey, but sometimes I get caught up in the destination a lot.
I agree.
Did you get it?
Yes, that's not bad.
That was good. We went from basic to high level. It was good.
And ironically, the last thing you want to be in life is basic. So this is full circle,
Dave,
right?
Hit us with a dime.
Basic.
Get me out of here before I talk my brain into
this
more
will bring
of a
us to
pretzel.
my favorite section, Dave's Dime of the Week.
Dimes, and nickels.
That's right, nickies and dimes. Hopefully, I can say this one straight. And this is not by your boy, Dave Regina. This is by the one and only Uncle Brucey Lee.
I think I'd beat him in a fight. I'd beat him in a fight.
Absolutely. Okay. I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once. I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Listen to this episode. Figure out what the basics are that you need in your life to make progress, and then focus on mastering the mundane.
What's your kick?
What do you mean?
What's your kick?
A spinning
10,000
back kick.
kicks.
I'm going spinning back
I'm
kick.
saying
Spinning
what's
back kick.
equivalent to your kick?
Oh, what's my 10,000?
My 10,000, I'm going to see 10,000 houses.
Ooh.
Right? What's
That's good.
your
I'm doing
kick?
10,000 pulleys.
I mean, I guess. Calf raises.
Why learn how to kick when somebody can kick for me?
Exactly. But that's the thought
so
process.
dumb.
That's
Oh
perfect
my
ending
God.
to
This is so-
It's a great episode.
This is so ridiculous. No, fun. I like stuff like this. And I knew we were going to go back and forth. And this is perfect because you and I just have completely different thought process. I do believe we still will rise together. We'll get to the same level of success eventually. You might have more money than me.
What is
But
success?
that's what I'm saying. For me, it's fulfillment, right? It's fulfillment.
100%.
It's freedom.
Happiness.
It's right. Happiness up top. Happiness up top. And that's what this is all about. Guys, extremely grateful for you. Mike, let them know where to shop, please.
NoSnoozeShop.com. Get your pants because you got to cover those small calves. I'm in that camp.
Very good. Guys, thank you as always. Until next time, stop snoozing.
Get up and get after. We should call the pants calf covers.
Listen, just figure
good.
out
See
what
how I
freaking
thought
habit
about
you-
That's another Effie in the books. Go follow us on Instagram and Facebook at No Snooze Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze.